working now? There it is. All right, that's okay. I think we're good. Let me just check the sound because I was having issues the other day. Yeah, they're defaulting to the other mic. Hold on. Hello. That should be better. Should be a much better mic. I think that's a better mic. It should be. Why would you? Oh, they have these virtual backgrounds. Oh, that's interesting. What's this one? Did that work? Did that do anything different? It didn't give me it. Maybe I have to close it to get that background. No, it's not giving me a different background. That's weird. Oh, it doesn't really matter. I don't really want a different background, but I don't understand why that's not working. All right. That's, I guess, an issue for another time. Let's get into some things here. PANW, obviously, you're getting bought. CYBR's getting bought. It doesn't look like it's the best deal in the world for the people that held the CYBR, but it's 2.2 a share, I think, and then they're getting 45 in cash. So if we do it, we can do the math like super quick here. Give me 1 second here. I guess I just got to clean something up. But I think it's like 2.2. So I mean, it's not the 2.2. If we take a look at that 2.2, where you're at 190, right? And then I think you're getting 45 in cash or something, 45 in cash. I'll tell you in a minute here. 45 in cash. So where's that really put us? Let's take a look here. 45 in cash. I just want to make sure that my math's right. So yeah, I mean, 420 on the price, I guess, is really where you'd have like 415 to 420, but you're really at 180. So I'm off. Hold on. Let me see something. Let me check my math. Let me stop doing the math. There I go again, thinking. So that's going to put you roughly at 400, right? And then you're getting 445. You're getting 45 in cash. So you should be at 445 CYBR. So you'd be at 445. So you're getting a 5% discount roughly. I don't know. I don't think that's worth it. So I don't think that's worth it at all. I don't think I would do it for a 5% discount. So, I don't know that I'd be chasing this thing, honestly. Someone got mad at me the other day, sent me a thing. They're like, just use the weak magnet. The weak magnet's better than the strong magnet. Nothing is better than being weak. Why would I want a weak magnet? Like, why? For what purpose? How about just turning it off? Ooh, is there something else? Snap to indicators. Oh, that's interesting. That's something else we can do together. All right, let's go. Let's get to it. So if we look at the ES, you have a lot of data coming out, like a lot of data coming out. And we've already had a lot of data where people are talking about the jobs numbers, and it is what it is. Obviously, that QRA is probably coming out right now, is what I'm thinking is what's moving the market. Let's go see if that's what's got us all over the place. But, the QRA might come out already, and that might be what's going to move us all over. Let's see. But I think that could be why you're seeing this, why we're moving the way that we are. Give me 1 second here, guys. Let's see if that's what's actually happening. Let me go through like one of my 17 news feeds and see. And then there's a 25% tariff on India. That's not great for Apple. I don't think Tim Cook could be doing a worse job, honestly. That's interesting. Thank you. Something's going on here. I'm not really sure what it is. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on 1 second here. No, I don't see that. I don't see that it's out yet. Maybe I'm missing it. If you guys see it, just put it in the chat or let me know. You know, I know GDP's out. Is that what's doing it? But really, like, who cares? GDP is all over the place. Like, who really cares? We can look at this stuff together, but I don't think that this stuff's a big deal right now, guys. But let's do it. We might as well do it since I'm like yammering on about it and not showing it. So, and I apologize. That's a lot of me in the morning. So I apologize for that. But let's do this together. We'll drop this to here, and now we're bonding. All right, cool. Well, let's not bond for a second so I can just show this. So if ADP actual better than expected, ADP only does ADP data. ADP data is 30 companies, 30 employees and less on average. Just remember that. GDP growth 3%. Like, who cares? Like, I mean, I hate to say it that way, but I don't know how much of this is front loaded or back loaded. You know, we just don't know. Treasury refunding announcements, what we're all curious about, the QRA. But I don't know why I would care about GDP. Just like why I didn't care when it was -4, and everyone's like, the sky is falling, we should be afraid. Like, we don't know what we're going to get, right? Core PCE is interesting because the consensus is higher than expected. I use this as a guide for tomorrow's PCE, and it's not the worst thing in the world. But I don't really view this as good nor bad. I view it as just is. Like, I like looking at GDP, but I think it's very difficult to look at GDP right now and to think that you should care. I mean, you know, if it was like super negative, while they're front loading all the data, then it's one thing. But if you're front loading, like if you listen to what Texas Instruments said, right? If you listen to what Texas Instruments said here, like the reason the stock dropped was not because of earnings, but they said, we don't know if this is front loaded or not. That's why it dropped. So it's super important to get that. Like, I don't have a reason for that. Like, I don't know why that's, you know, doing that. So I think that's very important for people to understand. Like, they don't even know. They don't even know why they're crushing it. I mean, how crazy is that? And so, you know, we're looking at these things that are going on out there, and you still have so much uncertainty. Like Apple this morning, you know, they just lost someone else in the AI. I don't know how you could have been the single biggest company in the world in technology and not have an AI strategy. I'm floored this guy still has a job. Like, it's crazy. And then he just went to India and moved everything to India, and now they just have a 25% tariff. So I don't know, man. India is supposed to have a 25% tariff. So, and there's no extension on the tariffs anymore. And I truly believe he's not going to put any extensions on the tariffs anymore. I think that's it. I don't think he's going to taco again. I really don't. I think he just get way too mocked. But, you know, you never know. He loves doing deals. But, you know, I think they lost their 4th person in a month in their AI department. It's huge. But I wouldn't put a lot of faith into these numbers. Like, I really wouldn't. I don't think you want to. I think you really want to think about that as, you know, they don't know what they're doing. And I know it sounds dumb, but they really don't. Like, they don't know where they're supposed to be. So you're kind of boxed in here for now. You have the Fed speech today at 2:00. And that's going to be something, you know, that's going to be way bigger than people think it is, like way bigger than people think it is. So I might actually, you know, you might want to make sure you subscribe to the channel. I may actually go live for that because I think that's going to be enormous, because it's going to be all about the language. Like, that's going to be totally language driven today. It's going to be totally language driven today. Like, I can't stress that enough. I don't know. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. That's why. I hate when the canvas looks like this. It sickens me. So we're going to have to go through this together. Where is the grid lines? Is it here, symbol, where I can change the electronic hours? Let's go back to this. There it goes. Isn't that better? Isn't that nicer? And let's put that there and grab this and go to here. But I might go live for that today from 2 to 3 instead of doing a night video, because I think tonight's going to be like batty between Microsoft and Meta. Like those earnings calls, it's going to be crazy. Like I might not even be able to do a video. Okay. I don't know. Just make sure you subscribe to the channel because I might do that. Let's get that out. Let's do let's go here because they've asked me this 1,000 times. And let me just get them this out real quick. Private. Where is the oh yeah, let me just do this real quick. Find this guy. And so I can do this. And we should probably just take a moment here and look at, let's go do the NQ real quick. And then let's go take a look at India and what India is doing on this 25% announcement. I mean, they would be my levels. I think that if you really go take a look from Sunday on, you can see that Sunday level is definitely a pickle. And you'd want to pay attention to that if you were a futures trader. I would. That'd be something I pay attention to. And let's go take a look at INDU for a second, or INDA, right? Jacob. I'll know this, but I like to close. And there's also an INDL. So how are they responding to that? Oh, that went well for them. That's not good. So that might be a real pickle today. And I don't think he's going to change that. And then you have INDL, which is this on steroids. But yeah, you might want to look at these today. And then the other thing you'd have to think about is like Dr. Reddy's there, right? Isn't Dr. Reddy there? You guys are like, what's he yammering on about now? Isn't Dr. Reddy there, right? That's their biggest, is that still trading here? It should be trading here somewhere, right? So that might be a real issue for them. So this is one of the biggest generics out there, generic pharmas out there. And they're based in India. So hold on one second. Let's do stuff. Give me 1 second. They're in India. Their headquarters is in India. And they're a generic company. That's not good for them, like at all. Like that's a real problem. Considering Teva is in Israel, right? Isn't Teva in Israel? Well, at least you got learning today. So Teva, and we all know Israel's not getting a 25% tariff. So that's interesting, isn't it? Something to think about. There I go again, thinking. Can you see the smoke? All right, let's get to it. D-Pro. The guys in the room are trading this. They're whacking it all around. Yeah, I don't know that I'd be in a hurry here. I mean, you're falling down. Like, just let it do its thing. I don't know. You have to be in a huge hurry here. Julian. BBAI, like, what's the hurry? Like, I mean, I don't really need anything else. Like, what's your hurry here? The bearish control bars are there. The GEV, you need a pullback. Like, you finally are getting cracks to get a pullback. I need something like, come on down to like the 12 or the 22. You always get a shot at like the 22 or the 12. You just have to have patience and then kind of go from there. But when I look at stuff like this on like the 4-hour, and I go here and drop it off, like, let's go to the 4-hour. Like, yeah, that's not me, man. I don't do well with those kinds of trades. Now, if you always look at this kind of stuff, you don't always, on these kind of like big tech names, you don't always get these kinds of like shots to buy this stuff down here and, get involved with it. You just don't, but sometimes you do. You see the undercut here and then the positive divergence, like it's telling you like, hey, that might be it. Obviously, we had our big move right here. And, you've doubled since then. So you don't always get those like long-term opportunities. I don't know. I don't know that I would be, I don't know that I'd be getting out of it, but I also don't know that I'd be rushing into that until I got a pullback, like a real pullback, and that's just how I feel about some of this stuff. And maybe you get it, maybe you don't. And, if not, I'll find something else. But, if I'm looking long-term, Garmin, I really like this name. I think it's super misunderstood. You had a really good quarter followed by this. You get these moves and then it just dies. So I always look at how it goes, meaning, oh, I've got this explosive move and then it kind of like dies down, doesn't it? I don't know. I don't know that you're going to get this huge breakout and run. It tends to not do that. It tends to just lift. I say it. The CYBR, I don't really know the issue there. The ARBs are going to be shorting it all day to make their money. They're going to make 5% off of it. So what they'll do is they'll buy it and then they get the profit. And then on top of the profit, they'll go long the one, short the other, right? So for every share of PAW they go long, they'll short 2.2 CYBR, because I think that's what we just went over, and then they get 45 in cash. And that equates out to, depending upon where it is, that equates out to, roughly 5%. So it's not a bad way to make a living. I mean, they use leverage, but if you keep doing that over and over on these deals, as long as the deals go, you're set. It's like DALN. As long as the deals go, you're in good shape. I think that they're not going to take that 16. I think they can't. I think they're in a binding agreement. I think that's the problem there. But with the CYBR, that's the deal. It's like when you bought CORZ, the goal is you go long the one, short the other. And CoreWeave finally caught up to where it was, and CoreWeave looks god awful. So, but that's the deal with those kinds of trades, Jacob. Yeah, I actually think that, that's probably done. That call was not great. I really think that's your high. You probably continue to sell down. Like, that's probably a really easy short if you're willing to just leave this on. The other issue that you have is this entire move was going on why the dollar was weak. And now the dollar is getting strong, so it's not the best for the company. That's pretty much it, man. I mean, like, you got the whole move, dude. You got the entire move. So no one's going to ring a bell, but ding ding, and you've encapsulated all this. So when you see something like this, could you reverse and go back over? Yeah, but I don't think so. I think if anything, you start, cracking here, and then from there it starts, really coming in. But yeah, I don't know that I'd be buying industrials right now. You're starting to see the cracks in them. And to me, this is like a super simple, go out 3 months, buy the 200 puts, leave it alone. NVIDIA is moving. Is AMD moving, or are people realizing it's a pig? Yeah, they know it's a pig. How about AVGO? No. How about Oracle? Yeah, but I don't know that I like that bar from yesterday. How about SMCI? What's still doing? Like people like this market right now, but I think it's an easy short here. TT day. A lot of you guys trading this sucker. I don't think it gets any clearer, man. Like you're playing the earnings, right? Like at this point, you're either in or you're not. But earnings are next Thursday. Here's your gap fill. That's a clear rejection. And that's what a bearish engulfing looks like for people that want to know. You need the one to be green and the other to be red. And then it has to encapsulate the entire body. And the body has to encapsulate, not just the wicks. The entire body has to encapsulate. That's how I view them. But one has to be green or red, and the other one has to be the opposite. That's what makes them so vicious. So they can't be the same color. Just FYI. What's up, John? So GL, I don't know anything about it. I know a bunch of people were short this and said it was a dumpster fire and it's going to zero and it's the worst company in the world, right? It was Hindenburg did this. Crazy how they did all this, right? And then they just disappeared and said, we're not shorting stocks anymore. We're done shorting. Left a bunch of bag holders out there, didn't they? But yeah, I mean, this was it, right? Isn't this the one that they shorted? And it's going to be that it's a disaster of a company, and yeah, it's hitting all-time highs. So, I mean, I don't have anything against short sellers, but the thing is they use their fame to get for profit. It's just kind of crazy. People don't see that, but whatever. I don't know that I would touch it here. A lot of these short stories, sometimes there's something to them. Sometimes there's really something to them. Like FTAI, you'll notice, like after that report, they did this report, you'll note all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're missing because they're like, hey guys, keep the balance sheet like as accurate as possible now. Very different than what we saw going on in here. But and you see it, like sometimes they're just dead right. Like they just nailed SMCI and IEP. Like I'm not saying that they didn't nail some of the stuff. They crushed it with some of these names, but not all of them. And you guys have to you have to sort through that. So like when you see something like that, I don't know that I chase that. I think it's too thin. If you're comfortable with it, do it. But it's not something I'm overly comfortable with. CDNS, it's not really my kind of trade. I thought this was an excellent report. I don't know why it wouldn't continue to push. For me, what I'd like to see and what works for me is this. If I go here and I drop my link right here, right, and then just put the alert there, and it should be the same number, 37061. You know what we can do here? And I should really save it here because I know you guys that watch this stuff. Is it the canvas that does it? There it is. You guys that watch this stuff always tell me to do this. And it does make it easier for you guys to see those numbers, doesn't it? 361. Yeah, it did it right. So I would prefer it doesn't make a higher high today and does it tomorrow. And then I have a basis to go off of. They're the best for me. If I can get something like that, I love those kinds of trades. And then kind of go from there. What else do we have here that's of interest? That would be the best. And also this too, SNPS will move on that news. But you're coming out with earnings because they share the same brain. They're very similar companies. This is where the cool kids are. Good morning from Phoenix. Good morning from Miami. CoreWeave's got real problems, like real problems. And a lot of people didn't, either don't read the research reports that have come out or, understand what's going on. I mean, you're at that VWAP. You need to hold here. So, yeah, I'm short SoFi, so I'm happy. You could see a crack yesterday. Like you never really should break these. You should never, like if you ever are in these and you break the open, and you can see it here, breaks the open, then it's 1, 2, 3 up, breaks, like that's it, man. It's a wrap. It's usually that simple. And you can see the open and the low. It's almost like a little band in there, isn't it? And you can see it like right there. So once you break that, that's it. It's a wrap. So I'm short. I'm happy. I might close it off the open, but I don't know that I need to be in a hurry, to be quite honest with you. Like, I don't know that I really need to do anything here. I think the best thing that you can do today, candidly, is like just chill. Quick trades to get out of the way. There's so much data. I don't know, man. Like, there's so much data that's going to come. It's nuts. It's coming up. I'm going to put it out again. It's next Monday. I'm going to put it out again. It's going to be next Monday. I'll get it out there. Bonjour from Casablanca. Bonjour from Miami, to think where I am. What's up, Sargon? SPLG, please don't be a penny stock. Please don't be a penny stock. Please don't. No, it's not a penny stock. I don't know what this is. I don't have any clue what that is. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I really don't know. I thought, like, 1 minute they're holding hands and everybody loves one another and they're hugging, and then the next minute he's like, "Oh, here's another tariff." It's like it's freaking exhausting, dude. It really is. Like, I don't know how you, like, you need stability. I'm short. I'm feeling really good about it. I don't know what happened there. I know Hawaii was supposed to get it, and some people in the room that are in San Francisco said that they had a tsunami warning as well. Yeah, the VIX has some issues here for sure. I'm trying to get through as much of this as possible this morning. I like them. I really do. I mean, it's interesting because Western Digital sells a different product. I mean, they're similar, obviously, but to Seagate, but Western Digital is coming down. As far as Seagate, I would think, like, something like this, I would think, and there I go again, thinking, but that people step into this and start wanting to buy it. But again, it's not really I don't really like contra trades on tech names. So I might wait for it to turn and go from there. And that might put me at a huge disadvantage with something like that. Because when it doesn't turn, that's when I have a problem, right? Or when it doesn't give me that opportunity. I don't think it was that bad. What got them, use your words, what got them was their low end revenue. That's what hit them. They guided, like, their revenue guide, they had a new low end. And that threw people off. As far as hymns, do you really care? Like, I don't know. Like, they're going up on all this. I actually think that they benefit from what's happening here with NVO, because it becomes a commoditized product that they just want to make money off of. So NVO all of a sudden, like, it starts making sense why NVO blew up the deal, because NVO looked at the deal and said, look, it's down again. Because NVO looked at the deal and said, hey, what's UPS doing, by the way? All right, cool. NVO looked at the deal and said, hey, we're not going to make as much money on this deal, and we're diluting our own product by this deal, right? And so they stopped, and they came up with something with HIMS like 28 days later that probably really wasn't overly accurate. If you really think about it, they probably needed cause to break the contract, and that's what they used. They came up with something for cause. That starts to make a little more sense now to me, that's what happened. Like, that they came out with something like, oh no, we're going to do this. I forget where that news was. Was it here? Is that what did it? Is that what got them down in June? I forget. But I'm wondering if that's what it was. Like, they needed a reason to get out of that deal, because it never made sense to me why it held. But maybe people in the know knew that, right? Because you're up 20 points from there. So maybe NVO, like if you connect the dots, like maybe NVO thought like, oh, we better just get out of this and make as much money as we possibly can. And our gross margins are lower in dealing with HIMs because we have to give them a cut. And using them as a distribution is actually going to get rid of our gross margins even faster because more people are going to assimilate and not go to their doctor for it, right? Like maybe somebody like connected the dots. I don't know. But maybe they needed cause to get out of that contract. Maybe they just couldn't say, we don't want to do it anymore, which makes sense. And then that's why since that date that you've seen HIMS rally. Like if you connect the dots, I think there's more to it. And that might even be why HIMS is being positive and acting the way that it is. I think there's something to that. APLD, I don't know enough about. Coin, I don't know that you have any support here, man. I'm thinking here, but, there I go again. Hold on. No. Here. I'm thinking here, but, I broke the 22, so there's nothing for me to do there except stay out of the way until it goes back above it. And I'm sure not, crazy about buying this thing before tomorrow night, before earnings. Like I've made more money recently just shorting this. It's just so easy. It pops up and then you just use it as the short vehicle. It's much, much more manageable. You can do bigger size, everything. And it's just very easy. Like it just pops up, short it, pops up, short it. I mean, it's like over and over again. It's like Groundhog Day, right? So they want to be out before this. It's very clear that people want to be out. And that's not retail. Retail can't do that every day. Spot I like. I like this. I don't know that I have to rush into it. I tried to add yesterday and it didn't work. So for me, it's all about, is that 15? Is that where you're at? So it's all about like, hey, can I hold on to this? And then the other part I always want to watch is just the high. And I really wait for it to flip is usually best. But, if I undercut and then lift through the undercut here, yeah, you're just going to get net buyers. This is just that kind of name you just want to buy when it blows up. And you just forget that you own it. It's not an easy trade name. It's just an investment. Snow, I haven't been trading. I really haven't been doing a lot with that kind of software space or with Crowd or any of these names. They don't really look great to me. That most of them look heavy, I guess is the way to say it. I don't really have a lot of leadership here, guys. Like I really don't. Like I have a lot of stuff that's just stabilizing and hopefully it holds. But, the only real leadership that I see is semis, and that might be enough. Oh, boy. That might be enough, but we'll see. I have no interest. Let me know when Ackman gets out of Holtz. Like this, or Hertz. Just let me know. Like until then, I have no interest in doing anything with it. These kinds of things to me are like years. Like it takes a year for him to like go in there, fix it. Could be longer. So NVO's got a lot of problems. What's up, KD? Why put Meta? If I want to talk about Meta, I'll talk about Meta. I'm answering questions. What's up, John? What's up, Jonah? I don't know that. Like if I look at this, like the biggest thing about like the VIX. Hold on. I don't know. I looked at this yesterday and you can start seeing it turn and you start to flatline and you're really starting to flatline around the same time they cut this EU deal. So I don't know. Man. I think you're getting some hedging because there's so much coming out, but I don't know that you need to rush into that. Yeah. Agreed. Well, I own DPST and I'm no longer in it. I personally look at like now, and what I can't figure out for the life of me is like the home builders. That's not the best looking chart in the world. And so like I start looking at like Linear, and I start looking at Toll, and you just start going through it, and they're not able to get out of their own way. So, I don't know, Julian. I don't know. I go for either one of them. No, I think there's something to it. I actually think that inflation is going to come back. I'm wondering that because ever since the dollar turned, like if you look at this, like here's DXY, right? And it's 902. But so here's DXY. See the move? Like, and it happened once you got the deal. But once DXY happened, and now go look at crude. So like once this started to turn, crude went with it. See it? So and then and also S&P dropped because of the rotation. So and then watch. But wait, there's more. I'm sorry. I got like 8 hours of sleep, and I think my body's like, what are you doing? We don't get this much sleep. You also started to turn on gold. So it seems like S&P lower, gold higher, crude higher, dollar higher, which seems to lead me to believe that inflation is going to pick up. And if you start putting like 25% on India, like I don't know how inflation doesn't kick up. I really don't know how it does it. So, but no, I do think that those names, John, I'm sorry if you asked earlier and I missed it. But no, I think looking at energy and looking at crude makes sense now. If we take a look at this yesterday, this was on my list to buy. I wanted to buy this, and then it just did this, and it just did everybody like super dirty. Like this was just super dirty to everybody. That's why I don't put like buy stops out there. And you try to give it some time. Like that is just doing everybody dirty. And then you cracked. And once you see that, you have a short. Like if you ever see, like, you have a short. Even if it goes and it doesn't, like do this every time, like coin toss, you have a short. I don't know. It looks like they went to crush everybody there. Yeah, but I don't know if it's the net exporter, but like you have to start thinking of what are they going to do with Russia? Like what's happening with Russia? Like how long is Russia going to go through this before they come back in the market? And everyone thinks that oil is going to drop when Russia comes back in. And I don't think so. I think it's going to go the exact opposite way because they're going to be part of this conglomerate again. Right? So that's where my head is. And I don't know, like we don't really hear about Ukraine and Russia anymore, do we? So I don't know. There's some things there. All right, I got to jump, guys. Be careful today. Trade to win.